Official, I think I have a new favorite pour over brewer. What's going on, everyone? It's Chris from 416 Coffee, and this is episode 19 of Coffee with Chris. Now, this is a big episode because I think I've found my new favorite pour over brewer. So, this is called the Kalita Wave. It's a flat bottom pour over brewer, and it just has three little holes kind of triangulated in the bottom. Now, what I've discovered that you can do with this is you can brew really full-bodied, rich, delicious coffee, and it doesn't take too much more work than you would with, for example, a V60 or a Chemex. It's kind of the same amount of work. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to brew with one of these, and then you let me know if you like this guy in the comments below. For this tutorial, you're going to need a few things. You're going to need a Kalita Wave, you're going to need Kalita Wave filters, freshly ground medium fine coffee, and something to brew it into, or you can brew it directly into your mug depending on how much you're brewing. So, first things first, we're going to pre-rinse our filter and preheat the Kalita. Now, this one that I'm using is stainless steel. So, the nice thing is it does take on heat and it maintains some thermal temperature throughout. So, there's not too much variance. So, you just want to grab one of your filters, pop it in there. We have water just off of boil. And we're just going to fill it right up to the top almost. And once that's done draining down, we're just going to take this over, dump out our brew water, and then we'll get into brewing. Now that we have our Kalita all preheated, ready to go, we're going to add 17.5 grams of coffee, and we're going to brew about 250 grams. Now, this size of the Kalita is the 155, so this is the smaller version. This is great for brewing about 1 cup at a time, 2 cups at a time. There is a larger version, the 185. That's better for 3 or 4 cups at a time. But for this one, 1 cup at a time. So we're going to brew 250 mils of coffee, about 1 cup. So 17.5 grams of coffee are going into the Kalita right now. That's sticking with our usual ratio, about 70 grams of coffee to 1 liter of water. So we have 17.5 grams in. We're just going to spread this out. And now we're going to do a bloom like we would anything else. So, zero out your scale. Now for this brew method, we're going to do a bloom of 2 times the amount of coffee. So, the scale's at 0 right now. We had 17.5. So we're going to add about 35 grams of water right now to begin the brewing process and begin our bloom. Now that we got our bloom underway, we're going to start our timer. We're going to let it bloom for about 25 seconds. Now, while the bloom's happening, I'll tell you why we do the bloom. The reason being is that freshly roasted coffee holds a bunch of CO2. The bloom is to let the coffee kind of degas so it's ready to brew and give you all those beautiful flavors. That's the only reason why we do a bloom. There's no other ulterior motive here, just that. Okay. So now that our coffee's done blooming, we're going to add, in circular motions, we're going to add about 25 grams of water every 10 seconds or so. is we just want to keep the coffee bed nice and high. We want to keep the temperature nice and high so that the coffee is continuously brewing. This is slightly more tedious than some of the other brew methods, but I'm telling you it's worth it. You get a beautiful, well-rounded cup of coffee, kind of producing all of the flavors that you'd like to get out of any particular coffee. Today we're brewing the Kenyan pea berry that we just brought in, and it is tremendous on this brew method. We're just bringing it right up to the top every time, letting it come down a bit, right up to the top. So right now we're about 1 minute and 45 minutes into brewing our coffee. And the goal is to have this all done in around 3 minutes. Now, if you find your coffee's taking substantially longer, then you need to adjust your grind size. This brew method should take about 3 minutes to brew. If it's taking much longer, you might have too much coffee, your grind might be too fine, but just adjust. Once again, we're just making small circles every time. So here we are, we're at about 220, and we have 258 grams of water, so I went slightly over, but it's okay. We're at 230 now, and we're just gonna let it draw down now. So we're just adding small increments of water the whole time, keeping the coffee bed right near the top, letting it come down a bit, filling it up, letting it come down a bit, filling it up. You want to make sure you're hitting kind of around the edges so that you're pushing all the coffee back down, getting an even extraction. So inner circle, outer circle is kind of what I do. So a small inner circle, outer circle. That's it. So we're at 3 minutes now. We can shut off our scale. We can put our kettle away. Take that, put it over there. You have it, like a beautiful cup of filtered coffee. And I'm telling you, this is probably the best way to brew coffee that I've discovered thus far. I really enjoy Chemex. I really enjoy V60. But for me personally, I was always looking for something that would just give me a bit stronger coffee. Not quite French press where it's sitting in there for so long, but something that would just give me a bit take the extraction a bit longer and give me a bit more out of the coffee. And I feel like the Kalita Wave really does that. So I'm really happy with this coffee, really happy with this brewer. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know if you have a Kalita Wave or if you want to try one. And thank you so much for watching as always. Have a great day.